Place this evening's proceedings into your hands, and we ask you to be with us now. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen. A very warm welcome to everyone here this evening to our very first financial literacy workshop here at Gregory Park. We extend a very warm and special welcome to all our presenters. We welcome our sister Michelle Hines Bell, who is here with us now, and we welcome also Sister Nicole Dwar, who is here with us. We are expecting representatives from BPM and from Guardian Sagicor, so we will await their coming. We also have with us some very special persons this evening. They were specially invited, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to welcome all those who have come from the schools, who are representing the schools in our community. We also welcome those who are representing the various clubs in our communities, and also the schools and the churches. Everyone, welcome, welcome, and may we all have a good evening. We meet under the theme, Planning for the Future, Be Financially Secure. And I'm sure that this is a topic that we are all interested in, because our future is dependent on the plans which we execute. Also, when you create a financial plan, it helps you to see the big picture, and it's easier to make financial decisions and stay on track to meet your goals. So welcome, welcome everyone. My name is Carol Harrison Kong, and I will be your moderator, ambitious. I will be your moderator for this evening. And I just want to say to you in my opening remarks that gaining new knowledge on how to make better use of your finances can be very empowering, and it can help increase our financial confidence. Simply speaking, financial literacy refers to the knowledge required for managing personal finances. Being financial literate means being able to make the right decisions in regard to your personal finances, and it means being able to understand how money affects your life and how to manage your money in order to make informed decisions that will ultimately benefit you and your family. So this workshop was designed to help participants to set up budgets, establish investment accounts, and save for the future or for emergencies. So this program will seek to increase our level of financial literacy while providing the necessary tools to become more financially savvy and to be self-empowered. So I'm sure this workshop will offer a rewarding and enriching experience to all of us. So may we all take something away from this. And once again, welcome and thank you all for coming. This evening we have with us some very special persons, and I will now invite Sister Lisa Henlin to come and introduce our first two presenters. After the presenters are finished, we will have a session for questions and answers.
Thank you, Sister Carol Kong. And it is my pleasure this evening to underscore the welcome that has already been extended by our moderator, and to extend the introduction to our two speakers in this first segment, two of our very own members from this church. So I'll introduce Sister Jean Hines Bell and Sister Nicole Henry Dwar, and then invite them to come forward. Sister Jean, affectionately known as Michelle, has been a member of the Gregory Park Baptist Church since childhood. A dedicated Christian, she always ties her daily professional life with her spiritual life as she seeks to reflect Christ in all she does. Jean has a first degree in finance and an MBA in management, both from the University of Technology, Jamaica. She has worked in the field of internal audit for over 20 years in the areas of forensic audit, operational audit, financial audit, and policy development. She currently serves the Shipping Association as internal auditor, a position she has had just for about 13 years. As an auditor, and with her experience and exposure to accounting, she practices what she preaches and has always been a shrewd manager of her resources, financial and otherwise. This is reflected in her involvement in several family businesses, as well as in the daily management of her household. Jean is married to John Bell, health underwriter at the Guardian Life Company. Please welcome Sister Jean Hines Bell. Sister Nicole Henry Dewar is a marketing and training consultant who has clients in the pharmaceutical, spa, and wellness, as well as fitness, shipping, and logistics and banking industries. Nicole has spent 13 years in the financial sector with an emphasis on investment, portfolio management, and insurance. She has won numerous awards for exceptional performance, producing up to 600% of assigned targets in some areas. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree in marketing, cum laude, and is also a certified John C. Maxwell coach, trainer, and speaker. Nicole serves on the board of the Woman Entrepreneur Network of the Caribbean in the capacity of Vice President, Strategic Alliance. She is a volunteer CSEC POB teacher at the Gregory Park Baptist Church Learning Center, as well as a member of the Lions Club of St. Andrews Central. Nicole enjoys making jewelry, a hobby that she has monetized and now owns the brand Antoinette's Accessories. She's married to Milton, who is here with us this evening, as well, and they have two sons, Khalil and Kyle. We welcome Sister Nicole Henry Dewar. Our first presenter, Sister Jean Hines Bell.
Good evening, everyone. I'll be looking at budgeting and savings. According to Bank of America, the #2 bank in the USA, and for which I'm an account holder for the last 6 years, I will quote the following. A healthy financial future isn't about how much money you make, it's about how you manage and plan the income you receive. So this evening, we'll be learning basic money management techniques to help us get our finances in order, no matter what our income be. You see the slogan up there, don't go broke. If we leave without nothing this evening, what I want everyone to leave with is that once you budget, once you save, you can't go broke. All around the world, at times, we see so much rich persons filing for bankruptcy. It's because, you know what, why they filed for bankruptcy? They've got so much money and they never plan how they're going to spend the money. And for the young persons in there, it's not only about the income you receive, it's all about the allowances you receive, and it's also about the pocket money you will get. And if you practice saving out of whatever little you have, you won't have a problem in life. Charles Dickens once said, annual income, £20. Annual expenditure, £19. Result, happiness, happy faces. However, he says, annual income, £20. Annual expenditure, £21. Result, misery, long face, sadness. And that is what we are here to discuss this evening. Once, it doesn't matter how small of amount you have. Don't be shy. Be humble with what you have and plan out with it. Spending more than you make can be fun for a while. But in the end, Charles Dickens is right. It can be misery-making. There is nothing fun about paying interest on money you have already spent. The good news is that life doesn't have to be this way. If you have been spending more than you make, you can reverse the process and escape misery. If you don't have been overspending, you are simply trying to proactive and make the plan to avoid misery. So ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't, when we budget what we have, no matter how little bit, you will be surprised to see how far it goes. So what is budgeting? Budgeting is the process of creating a plan outlining how you will utilize your financial resources. Creating this plan allows you to determine in advance whether you will have enough money to do the things you need to do or would like to do. If you don't have enough money to do everything you would like to do, then you can use this plan process to prioritize your spending and focus your money on the things that is most important to you. So we're going to look at the purpose of a budget and learn how to manage money by preparing a personal spending plan and identify ways in decreasing spending and increasing income. So, the purpose of a personal budget. The overarching goal of a personal budget is to minimize expenses and maximize saving. I don't say it must be me now, you know. But we must always think of minimizing spending and maximizing savings. By cutting down on unnecessary spending, by increasing your monthly saving, you can put that extra money towards long-term goals like lowering your credit card debt and paying off loans. Nicole will speak to what you do with the savings that you have. Okay, let us look on a typical budget. So, the person's net income after taxes is $100,000. And if he or she is a single mother or father, because I'm not discriminating, you might just get child support for $25,000. So after taxes, your total income is 125,000. Ladies and gentlemen, I am declaring myself. Mark 12:17 state, you must give what is due to Caesar and give what is due to God. So that's the reason why I put tithes $10,000. I'm declaring my hand. So for instance, you might have rent or mortgage of $30,000. You have groceries, $20,000. You have a small child, and you will need to have a bus driver to pick them up and carry them back home. So I put $10,000. You have your light bill, you have water, you have internet, you have your personal bus fare to go to and from work. You have lunch, you have school fee to save for, you have movie and play, you know, a little entertainment, you have sporting event of $3,000, you have bank loan, you have credit card, you have a little credit union saving of $2,500, you have other $5,000. You see what the total expenditure is, $132,500. And the reality is all you work is $125,000. So you realize that you are in a deficit of $7,500. Ladies and gentlemen, it cannot continue like that. Some things must drop off of the expenditure for you. In order for you to live a happy life, you're going to have to look on your expenditure and see what can go. I know that some persons don't like people to know their business, but I'm telling you something, sometimes I make people know their business. Because you can carpool, or you can ask another church sister or brother to do like a dropping off, you know. And you must be ashamed for talking about the finances. Because it's when you talk about the finances, and you don't even know the blessing you can receive from God. God will provide angels to help you out, you know, and you don't even realize when you just talk about it. Make I tell you a little bit about my life. At some time in my life, I thought having a lot of credit cards was cool. But when I realized that all I was doing was just using my income to pay off credit card debt, I said, but Jean, what this not right? And really and truly, I finance my study. So I realized, I decided to when I have to draw my own self. And I can happy to tell you, say, it's give and take is maybe about 15, I go to 20 years now, I don't even pay a credit card interest. Because I started to do certain things. So, make I show you what I started to do. First of all, you know, at times you want to achieve goals. But the reality is, sometimes the income that you receive, it's small, but never you doubt that small income. If you budget and you plan, little bit of salary, little bit of money can achieve great things. I'm sure under the quiet, a lot of us in here, we have partner, don't it? And we save. But what I want to tell you guys is that I know that a lot of persons will have partner and they save a little. But don't go out and buy something what you really on a credit card and you don't have the money in the bank same time to pay for it, and then you're in problem paying interest. And in reality, sometimes if you think about it, you even buy it on sale. But it's not sale anymore, you know, because you pay a credit card interest, so it not be sale no more. So when we look on how we budget and we have a little left back for savings, this is what happened. So you're putting aside money, usually in a saving account, which is used for personal goals at a later time. So it's a difference between your personal disposable income and your personal consumption spending. So just like before we saw the negative 7,500, we can turn it around that our savings be 7,500. So spending tips that can save you thousands of dollars. First of all, avoid impulse purchases. If you don't need it and you really don't have it, don't purchase it. That's the reality of life. Make it stay until it can be a want that you have, but it's when you have the want and you have the money, you can go ahead and buy it. One of the things I realized that is really helpful is making a grocery list and sticking to it. I have learned that art. And I tell you something. You see, if I go into the supermarket and I say I'm spending $5,000, I can tell you something. Jean not coming out with 5,001. Something put it back. I'm putting back. Make I tell you guys, don't watch what others will say. If you do, they talk. If you don't, they talk. You have to realize that you are planning your financial goal. Buying in bulk and skip grocery and corner shop. Some persons might not have the money to buy in bulk, but the reality is this. You can talk. Your friends, you can talk. One of the things that we do at work, we come together, and I work near Spanish Grain, and if you buy over 30 pounds, you get really discount that grocery shop get. And what we do, we buy in bulk, and we roster persons to work that month to divide out the stuff. Guys, don't be afraid to talk to others and try to get discounts where you can put that savings somewhere else. Eat more fruits and vegetables. For me, I realized that buying less meat now, I have seen my grocery bill really cut down because I realized that the meat is very expensive. And nothing wrong, you can buy the meat, but you can buy less until your finances is on track. And even when your finances are on track, that doesn't mean that you must go back to where you were a couple years ago. You must maintain it so that you can have good vacation. You can fly anywhere you want to go in the world for a vacation. And you have a next thing, I say compare prices before purchasing. It doesn't mean if something is cheaper, it is good. And it doesn't mean because it is cheap, it is not good. We are in the internet days. Ladies and gentlemen, make technology work for you. You can Google everything, Everybody try to forget business. Courts, singer, Kimali Mart, everybody's on the World Wide Web now. Look and compare. Just don't go and buy. Read up. Read customer reviews. It is helpful at times, guys. Take lunch to work and save. I realize I have a canteen at work, and I can be honest with you guys. I have a canteen at work, and many times I still don't want the canteen food. But you know what I do? I prepare lunch. I know that some person's stomach cannot and will not tolerate overnight food. And I understand. Me understand. However, if your stomach can accommodate it, or you're willing to get up 4 o'clock and look out for the lunch for the day, do it. Yes, you will spend a little more on grocery, but always remember that you know what is in your food. You don't know what is in your food sometime out there. And when you compare it, it's big savings. Lunch now is like $700-800 a day. And when you do the math, you can save so much money. Pay off credit cards. Look on your credit card statement. You will see the interest accumulating. And if you add up, you can, if you don't mind shop, you can pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in credit card interest fees, which you could have used to buy. You could put towards a financial goal, stocks and bonds, house, car, anything at all. And shop. I have shop with cash help you to stay within your budget. When I say cash, I'm not talking about just physical cash. I'm talking about your debit cards. And you have credit cards too, you know. But you say, if you know that your funds are not in your bank account to pay it off, don't use it because you're going to accumulate interest. And give yourself an allowance and stick with it. Nothing wrong if in your budget you put something for me. Nothing is not wrong with it, but guess what? Whatever you give to yourself, stick with it. So, ladies and gentlemen, right? Practicing budgeting and saving habits will make you happy. You will be able to smile and don't have long faces. Thank you.
All right. How are we all today? Good. All right, great. So on your program, you will see that I'll be talking to you. So I'm a little different. I like to come down and talk and touch people and all of that, so I'll be all over the place, right? So you will see that on the program it says I'll be talking about stocks, bonds. But before we even get there, I want to get into some basics. There are some things even before you get to any financial institution that you need to know. All right? So what does it mean to invest? To invest is to allocate money in the expectation of some benefit in the future. And we have different ways of investing, don't it? We invest in our children by sending them to university. What do we expect to get in the future? I expect them to come home and show me a degree. You don't expect to get anything? So that's an investment. But then now we're going to talk about a financial investment. thing, when you place your monies into a savings account, what do you think the bank do with it? They lend it. How do you think they get the interest to pay you? They lend it to someone else at a higher rate. So they lend it to somebody else, say at 10%, and not telling anybody that that's where interest rates are now. And then they give you 0.5% on it. You know that? True. That's about the disparity. True. So there are other things now that we have to look at so that we can get closer to that 10%. There are other lending vehicles. We have what is called a bond. And a bond is simply a monetary instrument that is issued. It can be issued by the government. It can be issued by a company. And let's say that this company or even the government needs some money to do something and they don't have the money right now. They come to you and they say, what's your name?
Simone.
Simone, I need $10 million to finance a project. How much of that $10 million I can get from you?
5 million.
I can get 5 million. I still need 5 more million. So I come down here. What's your name?
Joy.
Joy. How much of that 10 million I can get from you?
15.
I can get 15? I'm gonna lead now, you know.
Yeah.
Because I only want 10 million, Joy giving me 15, and Simone giving me 5. So you know what that means?
Overscribe.
I get $20 million. So you think them only going to take the 10? You know what them do? Them take the 20 and do 2 projects. Right? But Simone, you just can give me your $5 million, so? You don't even want something on it? Right. Joy, what do you want? You just call me cute, you give me the 15 million, don't it?
Something on it.
You want something on it, right. And so what a bond is you lending a company some money in a very structured way. You don't go to the company directly. It's usually facilitated through a broker, and there are several brokers across the island. Right? You have JMMB, GREGORY is supposed to be here, BPM, which is Burrito. We have NCB Capital Markets, we have JMMB, Stocks and Securities, a whole host of them that are there. And it's usually facilitated. So you will go to one of these brokers and say, that bond that the government is floating, I want to buy $2 million out of it, or I want to buy $500,000 out of it. And then they will tell you at what rate of return. And usually what happens is there are very set payment periods. So like they say, okay, every 3 months, it's 6% per year that you're going to earn. But you're going to get a coupon payment, right? And a coupon now is the interest that is associated with a bond. Coupon. And you're going to get this every 3 months. So this is a good vehicle because you put down the money, but in the event that something happens, you don't have to run and break the money because some of the monies are coming off that you can, depending on your situation, and we'll get a little more into that. You can either use it or you can put it down and reinvest it. Right? And then they say, all right, how long is Simone willing to lend me this money for? Or how long I need to borrow the money for? I need it for 10 years. So at the end of 10 years, that is when Simone and Joy and anybody else who bought into this bond, that is when they will get back their principal. Right? So right throughout, you would have been getting your coupons or your interest, and at the end. And then we have no cash. And you'll hear they talk about money market instruments. This is basically cash or near cash. These are instruments that are very, very short term, like your savings account, that if you put in the money this week and something happens, you can actually take it out next week with very little problems. They can even use a card at the machine. You wouldn't be able to do that with stocks. Stocks, now you're going to have to sell them back. Remember, now this is ownership, right? The bonds, have a maturity date, a future maturity date. And in most cases, not that you can't get out, but what the broker will have to do now is find somebody else who is willing to take it off you. And if you're going to do that before it matures, it may be at the expense of some of your principal. So a little later on, now we're going to talk about time horizon and ensuring that the investment matches the time that you need to invest for. Now, even before we get there, we're going to start here, right? And Michelle spoke earlier about having some monies put down. And so the rule of thumb is an emergency fund must be 3 to 6 months of your expenses. I will say expenses. There are some expenses you can't escape. Your utilities, your mortgage payment, your grocery, whatever it is that you give your children for lunch money and to send them to school. Those are things you have to do every month. So if something happens you don't want to know, run and dip into breaking your bond or trying to sell your stocks. So you establish that. And this must be in something that is interest-bearing, but still easy to access. All right? One of the things you can do with your emergency fund, so let's say that you're up to the 6 months. You can actually structure that where you have maybe 3 months of that rolling on something that will mature in 30 days, and another 3 months that is on something for 90 days. So you have a staggering effect, because the longer you invest for, or the longer you place monies on an instrument, is the higher the return. Got that? Another very important part of the puzzle is insurance. People don't like insurance because insurance is not something that you can see. You can't touch it, you can't feel it more than the policy that is handed to you by the insurance agent. Not true. I see this lady nodding, what's your name?
Travisha.
Travisha. Okay, so I see you nodding. So you're agreeing with that sentiment about insurance?
Yes.
Right. But insurance is very necessary. You can become sick. First of all, we have life insurance, we have health insurance, and we're going to talk about death. It's an uncomfortable topic for some persons, but I'm sure Rev will tell you from funerals that he has conducted that it's a very real topic. Not true, Rev? Very real. Yeah. And so what life insurance does is to put an additional layer of security in place so that if anything happens to you, then you have a higher than usual sum of monies coming into you that can help you to take care of business. It could be a situation where you've had a very bad accident and you're laid up for a period. You can't work, right? Especially if you're self-employed. How many self-employed persons are in here? See, we do have some. So if you're self-employed and something happens to you, you need something that can give you some sort of monies to carry you through. Health insurance, if you become very ill, you want something that can offset those expenses because medication can get pretty pricey, right? And then we talk about now death. And specifically on the death, how many of you know about FIP or the Family Indemnity Plan? Family Indemnity Plan is underwritten by CUNA, C-U-N-A, and it is sold through a number of credit unions and insurance brokers. It's a very easy plan. You can have up to 6 family members on it. So for example, you can have yourself, so you are the owner of the policy and you would have it. A second person can be a spouse. You can have your children on it up until they're 25. You can have a combination of 2 parents and parents-in-law on it. And what it does, pardon? What it does, it gives you a lump sum in the event of the death of one of these persons. How many persons here have elderly parents that they are responsible for? I see the hands. So if that parent dies, who is going to pay for the funeral? Me. Exactly. And this is why this is a very important part of the puzzle, because then it prevents you now from running again to your investments to break something because you would have had this plan in place. And for all those persons that you can have on the plan, it's still one premium that you pay. So if you're alone on it, it's the same premium. If you, your spouse, your mother on it, it's the same premium. So that is something that you can look into. It has stages, so there's something for everybody. I think you have like plans A to E or F that has a different premium associated with it and a different payout amount. And they have made it extremely affordable. All right? And I can tell you that is something I have personally benefited from having lost my dad 2.5 years ago. So it works. They didn't give me a headache in the world. They don't. You produce a death certificate, you produce your policy document, your check is ready in less than a week. Because remember, no, this is for a funeral expense, and a funeral expense cannot take place 6 months down the line. This is no. Okay? So we look at life insurance, and as I said, Michelle went into detail about budgeting.
To be able to even school my daughter better.
All right. So he wants to send his daughter to school. So we see children's education up there? Yes. That's a goal. That's a very real goal. Sister B, what are you investing towards?
Retirement.
Retirement. Real thing. Yeah. Right? Hello. What are you investing towards?
Upgrade my school.
Okay, and we see education for ourselves up there. So we see education, and we see it separate from our children's education. Because we want to go to school too. Yes. Right? On average, a degree is going to cost you about $1.2 million. A master's about $2.5 million. It's something that we have to invest towards. What are some of the other things we see there? Vacation, car, house, own business, retirement, and there could be others that are not there. We see a stroller in the middle there. Marriage, we see the ring over there. It's true, you know, you think wedding cheap is who said Jesus? Yes, we must have Jesus in the middle of our marriage. I totally agree. But it costs money to get married, right? And so these are things that you invest towards. So the first thing is ask yourself, what is my goal? Right. And then your goals now must be smart. You can't tell me that you want to buy 1 acre of land on the moon and you're investing towards that. Is that a smart goal? No. What are smart goals? Tell me them now.
Achievable, realistic, and timely.
Realistic and timely. So let's talk a little bit about that. Specific. I want to retire. When do I want to retire? Where do I want to retire? What will I be doing in retirement? You see the difference now? We're getting very specific about it. Because we all know that we're going to retire. Even if we don't want to leave the job, they're going to say, Miss, we cut off now. The government said not to have you beyond X age, and you need to put in your papers. Not true? So you have to set timelines. Measurable. We must be able to measure the goal, to see it growing, to see us getting towards it. So if we know that we are investing towards purchasing a car, and the car costs $4 million, and we're saving, or even before that, we know we want a car, and we're saving, and we're just saving. We don't know what kind of car, we don't know how much the car costs, we don't know how much you're going to be to insure the car. So are we really able to measure what we're saving towards? No. So we must know that we want a 2020 Suzuki Vitara, a red one, with all of the features, and it's going to cost $4.5 million from Stewart's. And I know all of this because Wednesday I took my friend down there to pick up her new one, and she couldn't have been more excited. And she was struggling with an old car for 2 years before that, but she set her goal and said, I'm going to buy myself a new vehicle. And in 2020 she did, because she was working on it for a while. Okay? It must be achievable, so your goal must be reasonable. Remember we spoke about the acre land on the moon? How many of us think we can really achieve purchasing an acre land on the moon? It must be realistic. It must be relevant to you. It must be what you want. It can't be a situation that you are investing towards something else that somebody else wants, or because somebody tell you, you know, this is really good, you must do it. But how does it fit into my life and my plans? Buy this stock, man, the stock you're good. But guess what? You're not going to see any returns from that stock for 10 years and you have a 5-year goal. That makes sense? No. It must be timely. Remember I said earlier, we spoke about retirement. When do you want to retire? If I'm 30 now and I want to retire at 60, it means that I have 30 years to do all of that planning if you didn't start before. And the earlier you start, the better position you will be in at the end. When we're investing, we have to take into consideration the evaluation of an individual's willingness and ability. Those two words are very important. Willingness and ability. So this nice lady in yellow, I'm going to ask you a question now. Would you buy a Mercedes-Benz?
No.
Okay, so what that tell you right away? She does not have the willingness. She's not going to do it. All right, lady over here, would you buy a Mercedes-Benz?
No.
No, nobody not willing to buy a Mercedes-Benz. Rev, would you buy a Mercedes-Benz? Just want you to give me yes or no. Would you buy a Mercedes-Benz?
No.
No, I don't want you to tell me that. We don't reach here. Mr. Rev can jump in or I'm bright, so. Would you buy a Mercedes-Benz? No. Well, look here, I would buy a Mercedes-Benz. I am willing to buy a Mercedes-Benz. So I have the willingness. I am willing to buy a Mercedes-Benz. Am I able to buy a Mercedes-Benz? Do I have the money to buy a Mercedes-Benz?
You tell me that.
I absolutely do not. And that is why those two things have to go together. The willingness and the ability. So you can't say you want to buy a Mercedes-Benz and you don't have no money to buy a Mercedes-Benz. You don't have the ability. So it's the same thing. So it's the willingness and the ability. And there are several risk profiles. 3 basic ones: you're conservative, you're moderate, and you're aggressive. At one end of the scale, you have conservative. So they're not willing to take on a whole heap of risk. And so with that, they're going to get very little return. And I see BP just come in. And at the other end of the scale, we have aggressive. So they want bigger returns. And as a result, they are willing to take on more risk. But what comes with more risk? You get greater returns, but the possibility is there for a greater loss as well. And then somewhere in the middle, we have moderate, who will take on just enough risk to see some more returns. We need to know our time horizon. Is it an immediate goal? Is it short term? Persons are investing towards buying a house, they are looking at the deposit, the closing costs, and the associated fees, because they're going to be seeking a mortgage. All right? And then we look at long-term goal, or children's education. And we have that as a long-term goal because from we start planning for our children, we must start planning for their education. So as soon as they're born, even before they're born, we need to start putting things in place. And that's how it becomes a long-term goal. And when we talk about planning for children's education, most of the time it is very specific towards university. Because we basically manage primary school and high school, not true? Money not so big, right? The money you can go on, you can think, and then like university come and you go, hey, not true. Like, what just happened? And that will happen if we don't prepare for it. When we're investing, we want to look at having a diversified portfolio. All right? And I see my friend from Barita here smiling. I'm not from any financial institution. I'm just giving general information. So we want diversification. There are several ways to diversify. You can diversify across assets, bonds, stocks, money market. You can diversify across currency. You have investments that are in Jamaica, and you have investments that are in US. Another currency too, if it is available to you. You look at industry. So for those who particularly like equity, you don't look at buying one industry. You don't look at buying NCB and Scotia and JMMB and Sagicor. They're all in the financial sector. So what happens if something is not so right in the financial sector at this moment, then your entire portfolio is dipping. So you want to look at having across the different industries. All right? Now, when we're just starting, we may not have all of the funds to buy some here and some there and some here. So what we need to do to attain diversification is look at investments that some of the brokers would have put together, like unit trust. Whoever heard that term before? Nobody don't know unit trust? Yes, I see some hands going up there. So unit trust is essentially a pool, and you can have different ones. You can have one that is primarily equity-based, and they would have already done all of the diversification within this pool. And what you're doing is placing a sum of money. So you know, getting the benefit of the expert manager for that pool, right? So when Ramon goes bap and does his thing, you know that, okay, I may seem like I put all my money in one place, but it really is diversified. All right? And so you look at that. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Once you are giving any institution your money, ask and ask and ask of them. And if them don't want answer, you tell them you want to talk to them supervisor. Right? If you have questions and you're not comfortable and you're not getting answers, then take your money to another institution that is going to answer you, because you do have that option. It's your money and you have a right to ask. What are some of the questions? How does the investment work? Are there fees? Sometimes you're not told up front that there are fees, and you get a statement and you see things coming out. Are there fees associated with this investment? Why is this investment suitable for me? So somebody is recommending something to you. Why is it that this is a recommendation for me? How does it fit into my goal? What has to happen for this investment to be? Okay? Now, once you sit with an investment advisor, your diversification will be based on your risk tolerance. And there is generally a questionnaire that they will go through with you to help determine the risk tolerance. Questions like your age, questions like what other assets you have, what other investments you have. It's not fast, I'm really helping you. As somebody who spent, as Sister Lisa said, 13 years. It's not a situation where we really want to know your business, but it is giving us information to give you the best advice for you. So you're giving the financial advisor information to work with, because they know how to create a portfolio for you. How much is your mortgage? How close are you to paying off your mortgage? Are you a part of a retirement solution? What additional investments do you have out of that retirement solution? For the retirement solution, this is now your pension that you're paying at work. Are you paying the maximum? How many persons know that up to 20% of your gross can go to retirement? You can have a situation where an employer pays the mandatory 5%, and you pay the mandatory 5%, and that's 10%. And what is happening with the other 10%? The employer may choose not to pay the additional 5%. The laws have been amended. So if the employer pays the mandatory 5%, you can take up the slack and do the entire 50% now, so that you benefit from that 20%. of these funds that is taken out before income tax is levied on your monies, because you know that your pension is tax deferred. All right? So ask the questions. And general information, again, that most investment houses or financial institutions will need. They will need your identification. Them don't need, it's not fast, them fast, but they need it. The law requires that you provide, for some institutions too, but generally at least one piece of photo ID. And this is now a national ID, and by national I mean issued by the government. Your passport, your driver's license, your national ID, which is what we call our voter's ID. We will need our TRN. So if you're using an ID other than your driver's license, have your TRN card. Don't go there and tell the people them you leave it and think them being difficult when them can't open the account, sir. Not true.
Yeah.
Because there is an entity called FSC, the Financial Services Commission, that will clamp down on them when they do not provide these things. And for the commercial banks, the BOJ. So there are regulatory bodies that the institutions answer to. It's not the individuals being difficult. So don't make their life hard. Please, I beg you no. Right? You need a proof of address. Some institutions would say not more than 3 months old, some would say not more than 6 months old, and the proof of address must bear your name and your residential address, not a P.O. box. Not a P.O. box. Nobody lives in a P.O. box. Some institutions, in addition to the ID, they may ask for references. Not all. Some. The reference can be a justice of the peace, can be a lawyer, a doctor. Rev, I'm sure you have had to write quite a few and sign quite a few. Justice of the peace, minister of religion. All right? And that's it. So we are into questions and answers.
Sister Michelle, if there are no question and answer, we would thank them, and we will do so later on. And we want to welcome, especially among us this evening, Mrs. Venice Chinsey Parchment. Her daughter and her husband is with us, and also Mr. Maurice Muir. And we give them a Gregory Park welcome among us. And we will invite Sister Alicia Morgan to come and do the introductions.
Good evening, everybody. We continue our financial literacy workshop under the theme, Planning for the Future, Be Financially Sound. Our speakers for our second sessions are Mrs. Venice Chinsey Parchment and Mr. Maurice Muir. Venice has been a dynamic member of the BPM financial team for 14 years in her role as Financial Services Officer. She has a proven track record of helping a wide cross-section of people to achieve her financial goals through proper money management and solid investment. Venice currently co-hosts Mellow FM's Raiders every Mickelmaker Muckle, Wednesdays at 6 a.m., where she shares advice and real stories that aim to build nationwide financial literacy. She also organizes and facilitates workshops, seminars, and presentations, both at BPM and island-wide, to build awareness about proper money management and how to make wise investment decisions. As a committed Christian, Venice is very passionate about serving people. Wow. Please excuse me, I'm using a phone, which is not mine. As a committed Christian, Venice is very passionate about serving people and places great emphasis on providing exemplary and focused customer service. She's a Sunday school teacher and a sports enthusiast who plays football and netball for her church league in her spare time. Venice employs her creative energy in event planning and decor. She's married with 2 lovely daughters. Mr. Maurice Muir is a life underwriter at Ligoni Branch. He's a financial advisor, a member of the Executive Club, a member of the Constant Spring Church of God, a 2-time qualifier of the $1 Million Round Table. He's a former PTA president of Arden High School, a member of the Micah Masters cricket team, and a former English teacher. Mr. Muir is well known in the education sector. He's a regular speaker at our JTA's seminars and retiring function. He's very caring. He operates on a mantra that people don't care how much you know and accomplish until they know how much you care. Please put your hands together as we welcome Mrs. Chinsey Parchment and Mr. Maurice Muir to the table.
Good night, everyone. I get a little bit confused as the mic over here. I want to sit. Hello. Can you hear me now? Okay, good. Okay, all right, good night again. Right, thank you very much for inviting me. And I hope by the end of it all, you would be prepared to make money, right? Because I'm here to tell you about money, and there are different types of money. If money is not working, earning, and growing, then we call it lazy money. So we're going to look at all the monies that we have that is not working, earning, or growing to get it working, right? But I'd like to start with a scripture. Yes, Ecclesiastes 7 verse 12 says, "Wisdom is a shelter as money is a shelter. But the advantage of knowledge is this: wisdom preserves those who have it." That's right. So the question is, would you rather have money and no wisdom, or wisdom and no money? All the church people here is like to say, you know, wisdom and no money. But think about it. Wouldn't you rather have the money and no wisdom? Who would like to have the money and no wisdom? I like these church people. The younger ones not so sure, you know. The younger ones look like they would want the money, and no wisdom. But guess what? If you have the money and no wisdom, you can use the money to buy the wisdom. No. You see what? All you need to do, is get somebody who has the wisdom and hire them. So you use your money and hire the person who have the wisdom so that they can tell you what to do. That's what the advisors are there for. Get it? So who would like to have the money and no wisdom now? All right. Let me see if I can work this. Good. So the first step, what you're going to do? Step is to determine what you want to save and invest for. Now, I don't have to get into the nitty-gritty because you should learn something from the first presenter, right? But here it is. If you don't know where you're going, you might end up somewhere you don't want to be. Where you don't want to be is when you retire, you don't have enough money. And that is very important. So a lot of us here, we're very young and might look like we have a lot of time. But if you don't put in the word no, you might end up where you don't want to be. And don't want to be in retirement, and you live the next 40 years in retirement and you don't have 1 cent. Or you don't have enough money to carry you through those times. Now, to end up where you want to be, you have to set your goals. Them. How do you set your goals? Let me give you a little quiz from the first presenter. She gave you an acronym. Huh? SMART. And what the SMART means? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Therefore, you all get a little ticky right there. So you need to set that. Because even the Bible says if you don't have a plan, what? The people perish for lack of? And if you don't have a plan, what happened? Or you don't know? All right, I'll soon tell you what happened if you don't have a plan. You need to determine what is the time frame and match your investments to them. You need to have a plan. Now, Luke 14 verse says, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? What happens if you don't have a plan, people? Your friend and your family and neighbor, them all sit down and laugh after you because you don't have a plan. You just start something without a plan. So I am saying, if you don't believe what we are saying to you, believe what the Bible is saying because it talks a lot about money. And we move on from there. Now, savings and investing, you need to understand one basic. And if you understand this one basic thing, I can almost guarantee you that you're going to make much money or more money. You're going to build wealth, create wealth. And that is understanding inflation. How does inflation impact my life, your investments, and how to beat inflation. Now, what is inflation? I'm asking you, I like it interactive, because I want to make sure that you understand what is inflation. You hear the word all the time. I'm not sure if it was, if you heard it in the first presentation. What is inflation? Well, usually I have some gifts, but I don't really have it now, but I can write down your names. What is inflation? You can't just put your hand up, What is inflation? Sure? Seriously? You hear it every day. It's on the radio. It's in the newspapers. The government talk about it every day. When goods and services increase. All right, so you leave off something of that, so somebody need to help you. What is inflation? It looks like I can't move on from here unless you know what is inflation. Yes, and right, but something else. Who says that? Overtime. You said overtime? Or is my husband tell you? Huh? No. Inflation is the overall general upward price movement of goods and services in an economy. Over time, as the cost of goods and services increase, the value of a dollar falls and the dollar won't be able to purchase as it previously could. Inflation is triggered when the demand for goods is greater than the available supply, or we can say too much money chasing too few goods. Did you understand that? Anybody get that? So I'm going to break it down for you. Imagine you had $1,000 in 2004. How many loaves of bread, hard-dough bread, could that purchase? In 2004, $1,000. How many loaves? How much? More than 10. In 2004. You don't know? All right, let me help you. 13 loaves of bread. Now, if you took that $1,000 and put it under a mattress, or you dig a hole and put it in it, or you carry it to the bank and insure it with JDIC, and you get it and you lock it up, safe and secure, then get 2 strong bodyguards to watch the $1,000, and you wake up back this morning with your nice, good $1,000 bill, how many loaves of hard-dough bread would you be able to purchase with the same $1,000? About 3 or 2. Then how comes 10 or 11 disappear over time? People, answer me, how comes 10 or 11 disappear over time while you have it under padlock and bodyguard and insurance and all of these things? How comes? Huh? Inflation eats away the purchasing power from your money. But the problem is a lot of people spend time watching the face value of the dollar, which is $1,000, and not focusing on the purchasing power of your money. So this is where you go wrong. The money that you said that is safe and secure somewhere in the bank with JDIC can't buy the same goods and services. Now, inflation to me is like how Chichi is to board. Chichi have a way to eat out the board. People leave it here overnight or on the weekend, and you come back and you still see it. You take your selfie, you go on, you still see it, you mop around it, but the moment you feel tired and need a little resting place, what happened to it? Is the same thing happened to your $1,000 bill, people? Lean pan it and ready to buy some bread, and you only can buy 3. And then 2, and then 1, and then what? And then you say to yourself, then how comes? Now this is what is happening to your money. Why you feel like you cannot make it in life. Now you need to know the rate of inflation. First you need to tell me, what is it that you're getting at the bank and the credit union on your money right now? I'm not talking bad about them, I just want you to understand what you're getting versus inflation. What is the rate of inflation right now? This information is in the newspaper every day. I read 2 newspapers every day. I watch the news every day. And if I don't see it, I ask questions or I Google it. This is not secret information. It is there every day because I see it with my own two. What is the rate of inflation? All right, so you don't know that. So tell me the rate that you get on your savings account right now. Huh? Some people say, I'm not getting nothing at all, but I still feel happy with it at the bank same way because it's safe and secure and JDIC take care of it if anything happened to it. You're getting 0.1% before tax. But don't worry, your money is safe and secure because it is insured with JDIC. Good? Now, inflation right now is 6.1 or 6.2%. Now, when your money ends up behind inflation and it's not working, earning, or growing, that is how we call it lazy money. Now, your money is lazy when you go out there, go work hard for your money, and then you put it down over here, so, in a nice AC building. While you working hard, and your money over there asleep. And then you start cuss now and say, oh, comes not now, go on for my money, look how long I put it down over there, and it just sleeping, because that's what you told the money to do. Go and sleep and relax. And some people, money fall in a coma. Because when you're ready now to buy the house, to retire, to do something that you want to do with the money, it's not enough. And then you say, how comes? Look how long me have the money down there and not now go and feed. Sure, me go take it out and do something else with it, but I don't know what to do. So you leave it there same way. Or you're not taking any risk on your money. So a lot of us end up with lazy money. Because you need to know the rate of inflation all the time and not sometimes. You get that so far? You think anybody inside here have any lazy money? Huh? Anybody with lazy money? I don't look like you're sure so. I need 3 people to come right here. Let me demonstrate for you. Lazy money and how you're going to get your money to work, earn, and grow. 3 people. Quick, quick, quick. 3 persons. Quick, quick, quick. Like 1, 2, 3. Yes. Good. We just need 1 more. All right. So now, let me see where we're going to place it. It's easy. I want you over here. And you two come all the way down here. You can come too. All right, so here it is. We have Miss Money. Say hello, Miss Money. And this is Mr. Inflation. Mr. Inflation, you need to respect Mr. Inflation. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. You cannot get rid of Mr. Inflation. But you can learn how to beat Mr. Inflation. Got it? Okay, so here we have Miss Money behind inflation, earning 0.1%. You see, you follow Miss Money. Me never tell us if you move and follow Miss Money. Miss Money is here earning 0.1% before tax. Is that a good rate? Why is not a good rate? So we move and you're getting 1%. That better? 2%, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Now if you're getting 6, that not sound good. It's better than the 0.1 where you're getting over here. But the problem is that inflation is 6. So if you're too close to inflation, then inflation can reach up and touch your money. And guess what? You and inflation are really no friends. So you don't want inflation to touch up your money. Not at all. So you need to move away from Mr. Inflation. So now you're getting 7%. Are you doing better? Yes. You can stay there. No risk apply. You're invested in government paper instruments, relatively secured. But you stay here and you have a long-term plan to buy a house. So you stay here and you get 7%. And you keep on rolling it. Every year you roll it. You roll it. 1 year come and you roll it. 2 years roll it. 3 years roll it. 4 years roll and you roll and you roll and you roll. Then when you look 5 years come and you're still rolling it at 7%. This is what happens. Over that time, while you're rolling your money, inflation creep up on the money and start touch up the money again. Then you realize that the money is still not having any value because you stayed in a position where you had a long-term plan, and because you want to keep the money safe and secure in your head, then you place it in some government paper instruments, and you allow the money to stay there too long because you didn't reinvest the money, and you let inflation creep up and do what? Catch you and do what? Yes, so your money end up being lazy. Now, there are 3 things that beat inflation over time. Right now, in Jamaica, it's 3 main things. Can you identify those 3 things? Stocks, real estates. What is the rate you're getting on a bond now? Jamaican dollars. You see, the problem is the bonds not paying any high interest rates right now. So it's like 3%, 4, 5, 6. And what happened to inflation? So this is where the money was placed on a bond, because you are thinking that the bond rate is higher than the savings rate, but you're not looking at the rate of inflation. So when you place your money there, you lock it for 30 days, 60 days, 1 year, 2, 3, 4, and 5 at the same rate. Everybody understand so far? So there are 3 things that beat inflation over time. So we are going to now place Miss Money into a diversified portfolio that consists of local stocks, overseas stocks, US dollars, and government paper instruments. And she's now earning 16% growth rate per annum. Is that a good rate? Everybody would like to get 16? But it comes at some risk. What did you learn about rates? The higher the rate? All right. So the higher the returns, the higher the risk. So what is the risk? What are some of the risks when you invest in stocks, especially? We're checking them out enough to make sure that them learn. Yes. So let us talk about US dollars. How many of us earn in US dollars? We're going to look at the things that you can do right now. Do you earn in US dollars? All right, so we kind of put it aside. So if one sure way to beat inflation, but we'll put it aside because you don't earn in US dollars. How many persons have real estate right now? Own it. You own house and land. Huh? How many persons? So we only have 3, 4 persons, 5. All right, so the thing is, we're going to put that aside. So that means we're going to look at something else that we can do to get that real estate that we desire so much. Everybody want to own a piece of the rock, don't it? So we have stocks leave. So stocks is one sure way to beat inflation over time because stocks it has like a sensor to it when it comes to inflation over here. So this is what happens when inflation moves. When inflation moves, Miss Money is going to move. So stock, move, inflation, Miss Money. So you're going to try and catch Miss Money over here, and then you're going to also move. So you're going to move when he moves. So move. So move again. Try and run them down. Try and see if you can catch them. Go right around to your seat. The point I am making is that when you have your money invested in stocks, it moves when inflation moves. Why is that so? Give them a big clap. Everybody want to know who is this person over here? You did not ask me no question. Who is the person that was standing right here? This person's money was properly invested, so they didn't have no concern about what's going on with Mr. Inflation over there. All she does is when inflation moves, she says, where am I go? And just keep on moving. Because stocks is one sure thing that beats inflation over time. Do you understand how stock works? How stock works? You see, I changed up the presentation, because I realized that most of the things I'm going to talk about was in the first presentation. So I'm just zooming into those little things that I think you need to get and understand so that you can know how money really works. Stocks? How stock works? Well, yes, it gains money over time. So I'm going to get into this part now. Are you consumers? Yes? You buy product, goods, and services, yes? And when you buy it, you want to feel good. And you want value for your money. So you buy it and you use it and you feel good. And you make them more money. Good? So what you're doing is moving the money from you to somebody makes the product, goods, and services that you like. You getting that? So you buy it, you use it, you feel good, and you make them more profitable. And you feel good? Let us look at Grace and Lasco. How many persons like Grace and Lasco? Put up your hand. So say you're buying Grace. You buy it, you eat it, and you feel good, and you make Grace more profitable. And you feel good, and you make Grace more profitable. And you eat it and feel good, and you make Grace more profitable. And for years you have been feeling good, and Grace making more money, and you just feel good, because all your dinner did have Grace in it, and you feel good, and then make them more profitable, and all these years you have been feeling good and making them more profitable. Anybody inside here own any Grace shares? Huh? Tell me something else that you like. You like Lasco? Who like Lasco? So you buy it again and you eat it and you feel good and you make them more profitable. Anybody have money in NCB? Anybody have money in NCB? You own any shares in it? So this is what happens, people. Now, I don't really have any money in NCB, but I am an investor. I own shares into NCB. So I'm happy that you go into NCB, you join that line, you give them that money, and then they make much profit, the highest record profit in history, yes? You make NCB some money, and then I get to share into it. So all I do is just go on my computer and check it and say, you know that I bought NCB when it was $30. What's the value of that now? $200. Am I making money from your actions? Now, I own some shares into Grace as well. Now, I had asked my mother, who migrated to Canada for 13 years, and every time she loves send barrel. So she would have sent barrel come and guess what is in the barrel? Somebody called my mother and said, Mama, you know, so them sell Grace out here? You can't send some other foreign things. She said, Grace I know, Grace I trust, Grace I buy. And if she go a US, a Grace she go buy. Anywhere she go, a Grace she go buy and send back in the barrel. Like it or not. Somebody says, all right, me like Grace. But it look like you have some shares into Grace. Unfortunately, she didn't own any shares in Grace. But because she keep buying Grace, and I own what? So she buy it, and me make money. So let us look at Amazon. How many persons shop on Amazon? Huh? Now put up your hand, man. Let me see how me I make money. How many persons shop on Amazon? All right, for the young people then. You like Netflix? Who watch Netflix? Yes, man. While you stay there and laugh, I say, what? This movie nice. Me just go work and look on it and say, all the people when they enjoyed the movie last night, I made some more money. You understand what I'm saying about stocks? So if you like it that much, why not own it? Why not become an investor? Why not add more value to that which you have already? Now, stocks is one sure thing that I said make more money over time, but stocks carry risk. Without risk, you really don't grow. But enough people not like to hear risk and money in a one sentence. Because it sounds like you're about to lose all of your money, don't it? So why you don't think about, I'm about to make more money? What is risk? What is the risk that you're afraid of? What is the risk that you're afraid of? So let me tell you a story. Ready for the story? So I have to tell you this story for you to understand risk. So a father and son, they are wildebeest, and they are in the desert somewhere, walking around. So the son said to the father, Dad, is there anything out here I'm supposed to be afraid of? Dad. And the dad said, yes, son, you should be afraid of lions. And the son said, Dad, I heard about them lions. If I see one, I'm going to run as fast as I can. And the father says, stop, son. Listen to me carefully. If you see one, you are to stop. You're not to run. Because if you run, he's going to chase you, and you're going to leave your back exposed, and he's going to catch you, and that would be the end of you. So the son said, Dad, that sounds pretty serious. So what am I supposed to do if I am not to run? So the father said, listen carefully, son. if you see a lion, you're to stop and stare him straight in the eyes. And the son said, and if that don't work? He said, stare him straight in the eyes. And then you're going to show him your arms. And if that don't work, you're going to grunt. And show him the arms. And if that don't work, you're going to stomp your feet. Look him straight in the eyes. And you're going to And if that don't work, you're going to muster up everything that you got. And you're going to charge right into him. And the son said, but that's crazy, Dad. Why would I want to do that? And the father said, well, if that don't work, look around you. Tell me, what do you see? And the son said, well, I see over 200 strong wildebeest roaming around. And he said, if all else fails, we've got your back. We have got your back. Now we are saying that we got your back. Because if you invest your money into one of these investment portfolios, then we got your back. You have to trust somebody at some point in time, and you need to follow instructions. There's no way someone's people would come and tell you the same thing over and over and tell you that, yes, risk is involved, but then you need to do certain things, certain steps for you to make more money. So first thing you learned was what? What did you learn first? You learn about savings. And then the second thing, what? And investing. And then in investing, what is it that you need to know all the time? Inflation. If you understand inflation, then you know how to make your money work, earn, and grow above inflation. That is very important. What else did you learn? Now I put that up there to say, dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. That means the money that you have, no care how small or large it is, you have to make it grow. Now, if you put your money behind inflation, it is not working, it's not earning, it's not growing, it is what? It is what? Now, if you put your money over the other side, just like Miss Money over here, remove Miss Money from way over here from 0.1% to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7. And you see that the money is still what? Not working, it's not earning, it's not growing. You allow inflation to eat away the purchasing power from your money like how Chichi eat out board. Now you have to move your money away from inflation and you start to that make your money earn, work, and grow above inflation. What are those three things? Stocks, real estate, and what? Me to tell you bonds? US dollars. Now, US dollars don't have that same problem like the Jamaican dollars. But a lot of us don't earn in US dollars, and that's the problem. Now, if you had the same $1,000 in 2004, and it could buy 13 loaves of bread, what would happen to that same $1,000 today in US dollars? What would happen? You would be able to buy the same amount of bread? You would be buying more? How much more so? Will eat more? Can I say you are able to buy the same amount of bread? The same 13 loaves of bread? But then you have to ask yourself the question, do I want to buy the same amount of bread or twice the amount of bread or the factory that makes the bread? This is where we go wrong again, because we're comfortable buying the same amount of goods and services, so you're kind of like preserving the money. So we have a lot of who take the Jamaican dollars and buy US dollars all the time, when all you're doing is preserving the money. You're buying the same amount of bread. But ask yourself, why not buy twice the amount of bread or the factory that makes the bread? So we get back to the stock story. So to be an investor, you have to buy stocks and you have to be able to take some amount of risk. There are 3 types of risk. It's 3 types of risk, right? Or 2 types. What type of risk is involved in in buying stocks? You have moderate risk and you have aggressive risk. Good? You got that? Now, this is how risk is defined. Imagine us, and remember I'm representing BPM. So let us say BPM is a pool company. A real pool, a swimming pool. Anybody been to the pool before? Huh? Anybody been to the pool? So we are your lifeguards. So when you get to the pool, you have 3 stages. How many stages you have into a pool? 3. What is the first step into the pool? You have the splashers. Then you have the swim up to the ropers. And then you have the divers. Good? Now when you splash, you're taking little and no risk. So you say to yourself, say, I am not willing to really lose any of my money, so I will stay here and splash because you're afraid to take risk. Now, I went on a trip recently, and the person said to us, well, it was tubing on the White River. It was White River, right? So we went tubing down the river. So the lifeguard said to us, the only people who come here and drown are the people who come here to drown. So I look at him and said, then how that makes sense? Him said, the only people who drown is the people who did come here to drown. Because we put everything in place for you not to drown. So if we put lifeguard in place, put you in a one tube, tie you up on the next tube, then we have lifeguard over there watching you. We have something to haul you back out of the pool. We have all these things in place so that you don't drown. Then the only people who drown is the people who come for drown. It makes sense. So we are saying that the pool is set up where the lifeguard is in place to watch you and your money. And the only people who lose all their money or drown are the people who come for drown. That makes sense, right? So now you're in the pool, and we're saying the people who splash, and I'm going to use some real situation now, are the people who are getting 3.5% in government paper instruments like bonds. Are you getting a good rate? So why are you in there splashing? Huh? Because you're what? You're afraid. You're conservative. But if you're conservative, what is happening to your money? It is behind inflation. It's not working, earning, or growing. So the only time you should have money in there is for short-term, emergency, backup money. What if something happens, money? Should in case something happens, money, that kind of money should be there. And it's not a lot of money we're talking about. So you need to check yourself to see how much money you have into that plan there. So you should keep it for 1 to 2 years. Now we go and swim up to the rope. What happens when you swim up to the rope? You're going what? Deeper into the pool. That means you're taking on some more risk. But this is moderate risk because moderate people still have some limitations, right? Yes? What is the limitation? You start say to yourself, say, you know, say, I can't bother splash over here because nothing not go on, but me go deeper into the pool. But while I am going deeper into the pool, water not pass me here, but it certainly not pass me nose. Don't it? Tell the truth. Because you start watch where the water level is going. So once it reaches your nose, you know, say, time to stop right there, so. Whether the rope is over there or here, you're not going any further. That is the amount of risk you're willing to take. Those people earn more money. And that is where Miss Money was over here earning 16% growth rate per annum. Now, is that a good rate? Is 16 a good rate? Yes? So let me tell you now, suppose you're ready to dive off into the pool. That is what? The higher the risk, the higher the returns. And this is where at BPM Financial Limited you can earn 28% growth rate per annum. You're writing that down? 28% growth rate per annum. You hear me good? I said 28% growth rate per annum. So what is the risk? What we do is invest your money into a pool fund that has over 14 local companies and over 10 overseas companies. So the only way you can lose all of your money or drown unless all those companies close down one time. What's the possibility of those companies closing down one time? Talk to me, man. What's the possibility? Huh? Is it possible? NCB, BNS, Carrera, Sagicor, Grace, Separate, RGR, Group, Kingston, WAF, Panjam, Whitcon, Highway, JMMB, closed down BRAPS one time, and then when you look at here, news, world news on CNN, Apple, Google, MasterCard, Facebook, Alibaba, Netflix, and Amazon just closed down BRAPS one time. What's the possibility of that happening? Huh? Zero? It is possible. That is when the good Lord is coming for the world. And you won't need $1. Because you need the stamp to get over upon the other side. You're not going to need the money. So the point I am making, just like having a unit trust, you can have pool funds. So that's another word you need to write down, pool fund management. Now, a pool fund makes even more money because it's more flexible. So you can buy, you can sell, you can do all these things. It's more flexible. At BPM Financial Limited, that is. So you're learning how to make more money and cushion the impact by taking necessary risk for the things that you want. Now you also learn about short term. Short term is splashing. What would you put your money in for 1 to 2 years? Think about that. What else would you do for 3 to 5 years? That is swimming up to the rope. What would you do with anything over 5 years? So when you place your money like that, then you have a better understanding of how to make more money and how much risk you're willing to take. So just like the wildebeest, and he says, look around you. You see 200 wildebeest looking at you. And he said, they got your back. Well, BPM Financial Limited got your back. You need to invest your money into those pool funds. Now, how many paychecks do you have left to save for retirement? Because we're wrapping up now. Age 20, you have only 480 paychecks left. Age 30, 360 paychecks. Age 40, 240. And age 50, You have only 120 paychecks left if things hard. No. And you don't put in the hard work and the sacrifice and the necessary risk. You're taking a bigger risk when you retire and don't have enough money or any money coming in. You need to create multiple streams of income. How many paychecks do you have left? Now we use the most powerful tool in the universe, and that is what? Compounding interest. Can somebody tell me quickly what is compounding interest? What is compounding interest? That is when you have your principal and it earns interest. And we take the interest and put it on your principal and it becomes a larger sum and it earns more interest. And you take that off and you put it on and it keeps rolling and rolling and growing over time. So if your money is not invested in an instrument that compounds over time, you need to check that out as well. Good? So we're closing off now. Proverbs 10 verse 4 says, lazy hands make for what? Oh, I never change it now. Lazy hands make for, but diligent hands bring wealth. In other words, if you're lazy and your money lazy, you're going to poor and broke and poverty. But diligent hands bring wealth. That means if you work hard and your money work even harder, what is it going to do? Bring wealth. So today you're going to check yourself out. Find out if you have any lazy money and how to get rid of the lazy money and get your money to start working, earning and growing above inflation. Because if your money is behind inflation, it what? It lazy. So you need to live like you mean it. Stop thinking about it, dreaming about it, talking about it, and just do what? You're going to do what? All right. Any questions? I will not have no questions yet, you know. Proverbs 3 verse 9 says, honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. Give unto Caesar what is due to Caesar, and the Lord's the Lord. So after you make all that money, you need to do what? All right.
We will take the question and answers after.
Thank you.
This man from Sajiko will be telling us, after all that you have listened to this evening. Pastor Enlin, ladies and gentlemen, all the executives of this church, good evening. My name is Maurice Mio from Sagicor, a senior life underwriter. You know, as I listened, I want to congratulate incidentally the speakers. I think you have done a tremendous job and nearly comprehensive job as well. You've made my job a lot easier, and possibly you have made things a bit problematic for me. So I thought I'd want to divert along a different course in order to enrich you for the next few minutes I'll be talking with you. I couldn't help but thinking of a pastor. He was at the funeral service from 10 o'clock in the morning, and then it went right back down to about 3:30. While everything went through, everybody went up and had a wonderful time, you know. So when they reached Dovecot, it was raining, and the men at Dovecot near 6 o'clock were so furious with the pastor when they saw him that they started to curse him. He said, Brother Muir, the only thing I did in that service was to get up and pronounce the benediction. You know, the only thing he did, yet he got all of the the venom that came. I'm from Sagicor, and Sagicor is a premier financial institution in Jamaica. We're a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate operating in 21 countries worldwide, and Sagicor is the biggest real estate owner in Jamaica. You did not know that. I represent Life of Jamaica, and I'm pleased and delighted to be here to share with you tonight. You have heard so much in investment, but my biggest credential is that I'm a child of God. I'm thinking that in all that we're investing, we need to put God first. Because if God is not there, that is foundational. And incidentally, the last speaker alluded to it. Because in Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 9, it says, honor the Lord with thy substance, and the first fruits of all thine increase, all. But the significant point I want to just emphasize here is first fruits. First fruits. I was a teacher, and I had a rough time. My wife also a teacher, and that was the formula for poverty. And I remember that I went to the States in the summer and worked. It wasn't a summer, it was a late part of the year. And a gentleman in the church decided to help me to get a job to pay my plane fare back home. And he frustrated me because day after day he said he would pick me up at the house, and he didn't. And I was very upset because I went down the road and got a job that would have paid me $100 US per day. But if he had employed me, he would be paying $60 per day. He said, Maurice, I'll pick you up tomorrow morning at 8. He didn't come. He called me in the night and said, I'm sorry, but I'll pick you up tomorrow at 9. He didn't come. I said, tell me the address and I'll come. He said, no. 4 days, Chris kept me waiting. And in the meantime, I went in the basement in the days, and I prayed. And I was mad with God, because I watched the scripture, and I believed that the scripture has the formula for prosperity. And my minister then, Reverend Dr. Cleve Grant, he said that Jesus spoke about money more often in the Bible than any other subject. And I read it, and I did everything that I could. And I said, but Lord, I prayed to come here. And I hear everybody talk about when you come to America, you get money. Where's the money? I can't get any. And I was upset. And I prayed and prayed in the basement. And I remember that there was a sponge there, and I prayed and read the Bible. And I heard a voice from heaven. People say, how you hear God's voice? I heard God's voice. And the voice said to me, because I was hungry, he said, my priorities are not the same as yours. Nothing more. I was in a daze, and I got up, and nobody was around. Out of the blue, I opened my Bible and found Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 9, and for the first time, it hit me like a bullet from a gun. Honor the Lord with thy substance, and the word first fruits got my eye and my attention. First fruits of all thine increase. Meaning, it's not only your salary or paycheck, it means time. Because time is asset. Time is wealth. Time is resource. So we are to honor the Lord with the first fruit. I change my entire lifestyle. And in the mornings, I make sure that before I say anything to anybody else, if my wife asks me a question, I don't answer, until I have first acknowledged God. And every morning I get up, I kneel on my knees. I go down on my knees, and I pray before I do anything else. First fruit, I give him first. First fruit of my paycheck, first. If I go to the bank, there are times when it's inconvenient, but if I can't take it because it's not good to travel with, or I can't get a check, I say to the Lord, Lord, please understand, your money is secured. I'm going to give you your first. I secure his first fruit. Every year, for the past 24 years, I take my family, my wife and my 3 children, now they're adults, and we go to Hope Garden on the first day of the year, and we give God the first day of the year. And God has blessed me enormously. Alicia said I made $1 million on table. It's not for 2 years, it's for 21 incredible years. It's the most prestigious accomplishment in the insurance industry, and only 3% of the salesmen worldwide make it. 21 years I've made it. God has blessed me enormously. I listened to you asking if they would buy a Benz. You asked a question, I drive one. First fruits. I honor the Lord with my first fruits. It's sometimes a bit difficult when your paycheck big. But forget about the size of it. Sometimes when you look at what you get, it really can't make ends meet. But if you gave God first, the first fruits, and when you're finished paying, you don't know how you're going to manage for the rest of the month. You're amazed to see when you reach the 24th, the 23rd, the 21st of the month, you say, but where did I come to? I didn't have any money. God provides the first fruits. The Bible in Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 4 says, delight thyself in the Lord, and he shall give you the desires of your heart. It could have gone on and said consistent with his will. First fruit. I'm challenging you to give God the first fruit. Now, many of you, before you get your paycheck, a lot of deductions are made. So if you know you have money going to credit union, $40,000 going to the credit union, at some time during the year, since you're paying off bill, you go and take a loan that equates to the money that has been withdrawn for you, for your benefit, and make a check payable to the church. Think about that. So you can't be getting $100,000 per month, yet on your paycheck, that is gross, on your paycheck you're only taking home 20 because of deduction to go here, there, and the other, and you show tithe out of that 10% out of 20. That's dishonesty. And Malachi speaks about it. Can a man rob God? Yes, you can. And it goes on to say that when you throw your tithe and your offering, he will rebuke the devourer, the E-V-O-R-E-R, means Satan. In other words, the accident that you would meet until God cut it out. Him stop the JPS from cutting off your light bill and charge you extra. He gives you at the time you give him. So many things that would have happened, God canceled them out. Yes, only the Lord thy substance and the first fruits of all thine increase. And it goes on to say what the consequences are. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine. That is in the Bible, it's biblical. Honor that and try it and see if you don't start work. Get your investment base right. If you get the base right, start with this proper foundation. Put in God first. When you put God first and have him as a foundation, you build on him. If you don't do that, you can invest until next year or until you hold. And then you reach the top, you invest and you make money, and then you climb the ladder of success. When you reach the top, you recognize that your ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. Trust God first. Now, the next thing is, I've brought along with me some will forms. Help you to preserve your estate. Alicia, would you give out the will forms, but please, not the instructional leave, the will forms. Very simplistic for you to make a will, a simple statement as to how you wish for your assets to be distributed in the event of your death. Not just in the event of when you die. The fact that you're born, you're going to go one way. A simple will form. And look at your family base. And you're going to make a simple will. A will is a simple statement stating to the effect how you wish your assets to be distributed when you die. Look at your parents, for example. Look at the homes and the family base on which you have come. And think of the enormous problems that the Administrator General Department has in seeking to administer on estates, in which cases people have died intestate. I mean, die without making a will. And it goes to the government to decide how it will be distributed. Now, this is the simplest form of will form because you can buy another one at the bookstore, I think Woolworth and some of the bookstores, looking like this. They have one which is different from this, but what I'm giving you here tonight is the most simplistic form, a simple statement. Two witnesses, both of whom should be present at the same time, and you'll name one or two executors. The executors are the person who will probate or sort out the will upon one's death. I took along with me today a little clipping from the newspaper that says that the AG, the Administrator General Department, has over 500,000 unprobated estates on which to administer. That is 500,000. People have died without making a will, and so it falls to the government to decide who gets what, when, and where. And that when is a long when, you hear? And so people die and leave their children, and the parents and the people you care for without any resources to go forward with, while the estate is tied up. In many instances, a lawyer will tell you that you can make a will. You can and you should. It's a simple statement. I've brought here some instructional leaflets from the Administrator General Department. I'm not a lawyer, but for goodness sake, it didn't take me too much energy to go there and fetch it and to print it so you can have it and use it and share it in your community. I'm looking on you here and I can see all intelligence written all over your faces. Intelligent, lovely people. So you're leaders, so in your community you're to help and share. Alicia, would you give out those instructional leaflets for me, please? How to make a will, so you don't have to take it from the horse's mouth here. You'll have it coming straight from there. And also a sample will is printed at the back so that you don't have to be confused. I'm not going to delay too much because I want to say a little thing on another matter in a short while. I don't want to, and I promise you, I won't be replicating the information that you have had. Of course, the evening has been so set up that it seems as though you're getting an overdose of information. I don't think we should do that. So I lighten it, I will not add to that burden. Any simple piece of paper can be used to make a will. The regulation is you should write on one side. You don't write on both sides. And this is, you know, I picked up this, it's a wall calendar, you know, very old, from 1984. I want to get it on the screen, but it's not possible. Okay, a bit late, got here a bit late. 1984, and this lady made a will, and she wrote it on the reverse side. And the law accepted, the courts accepted and acknowledged this. So you don't have to think it has to be an intellectual exercise, for goodness sake. You have a house, you have a car, you have a bank account, you put the word will on top. And you know, interestingly, it is said that the courts will look at the intent of the person making the will. So if your grammar not too wonderful, and you're not in a position to state the thing with elegance and using good English, the moment the judge can understand what it says, they will go through. This lady wrote, "This is the guide to my will, the 4th of the 11th, 1984. And she writes, "From the gateway coming into the liquor trench, going back to the Ledley land, right along belongs to my daughter, Merlene Silvera. Yes. The house belonged to my son." And she continues like that, simple, and it's signed. Simple, simple, simple. The simplicity of it all. You're to make a will and share it at your schools, share it in your institutions. If you're in the medical field, do it. We don't want to add to the 500,000. 500,000 unprobated will, mean unsorted out. They have that, and it take years. Let me tell you something, even when you make the will, and it's being probated, it takes a long time. let alone when no will is in place. And let me tell you this, whenever a will is not made and it goes to the Administrator General Department to sort out, to probate, you know what they do? No, they don't throw it away. It's in the file. It has to go in the file. They have what we call a table of distribution. That is when you don't make a will. And they look at the will and said, okay, this person has not made a will, so we have now to take a decision. So we look around to see if there's a husband or a wife. Husband and wife and children, they come first. If they're husband and wife, either party, they get 50%. Children, the other 50% is subdivided among the children. After that, they look for parents. After that, they look for brothers and sisters. After that, they look for another. Whatever it is, there are 5. After number 5, government take it. So, the information leaflets that you have, I'm asking you to go through. There's one area, just one, which I think I might wish to elaborate on, and that is the part that deals with the residuary clause. I'm cutting to the chase, if you noticed, you know. The residuary clause coming from the word residue, meaning if the will has been made and an item has been left off, the residuary clause will capture. You're going to state who should get it. If you had bought a fridge at Courts, for example, and after death, it was determined that you, having died, you are the winner. Courts can't keep the fridge. It goes to the government. But if you place a residuary clause there, it will say that Sonia Thompson is to get that item must be given to that party. That is what the residuary clause. The rest is basically self-explanatory. Now take it. I listened carefully to my esteemed colleagues as they educated you, and me as well. I got a lot of information from you. Yeah, I love it. But you seem not to have anything to match our Saji Gold accumulator. Sagicor, the master champion in town. Yeah. We have the top product. This one item, we allow for you to invest in 7 areas. Stocks, shares, bonds, government paper, treasury bill, US dollars, British pound, the equity, property. 7 areas, and we allow you to pick which of them you want your money to go into. You choose which of the areas. The equity at the moment is paying 34.4%. I listen to you. It sounds good, you know? Yeah. Yeah. 34, and this is not politics. The foreign currency at the moment, which is a composite of euro, dollars, pounds, and US dollar, is paying just about 10%. In the perception of the Jamaicans, they think that US and the foreign currency is great. But when you get down to the nitty-gritty, you find out that the equities is the one. And we allow you at any point you wish to come in and to switch your investment allocation. So if when you are investing, you say, okay, I'm going to put $10,000 per month, which equates to $120 for the year. You wish to put in that 80% in the equity, 10% in real estate, which is doing remarkably well, because what we do, we take your funds. But let me tell you how we do it. We take your funds, we buy properties, we develop the properties, we rent, we lease, we sell. The only objective is to make profits. We don't have anything else. So we don't apologize. And so that makes us big, real big. So everybody shares the benefit together. And I appreciated I'm not a bright man, so I could not remember your name, but I thought you did remarkably well as well. I sat there and I just drank in the information. I imbibed it, you know. Very good for my nervous system, so if I'm talking it lively here. Okay, all right. General, but you distinguish yourself, and you can talk to me after. I'll be one of your clients. So as I would say, we show you 7 areas. We show you the history of the performance of the funds over the last year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And we invite you to choose which of them you want to put your money in, or what percentage. And having done so you're going to do the picking, if you are fully aware. If not, we can possibly give you the advice. Having done so, we want for you to take the intelligent action of following the news, going on the internet on the internet and tracking to see how your funds are performing. And if you're not satisfied, you can come into us at any point and switch around the allocation. And say, I was putting 80% in equity, I don't wish to do that any longer. What I want now, I put 50 now in hard currency, and I want to put 20 in real estate, and so on. So we allow you that remarkable facility. That is how this goes. This plan runs for 10 years. In other words, the maturity date is 10 years, but you have access to the funds after 3 years. It is built on the premise where each year the profits are made, we plow it back into an investment, it keeps going over. I listen to you asking for the definition for compound interest. Interest in this financial dynamic is a bad word, let me tell you straight. You're saying it, but you didn't say it as nice as I do now, okay? Anybody you go on and say they're paying interest, NCB I think is paying about 2.5% to 3%. So all of you are here, and your salary goes to NCB and keeps eating up, the same thing you said. 0.1? Oh my goodness, I'm doing a good job for NCB here then, eh? It's a waste for you to have the money sitting there or in the credit union where you put your money in shares and just leave it there and they get 5% dividend. You need to embrace the means to aggressively put the money to work, because the experts say there are 2 ways by which you and I earn. You go work the dollar, or you put the dollar to work for you. So you put some of your money to work for you, take some of the stress off. So when this plan works, it stays for 10 years, it matures. And we give you the option, you're not ready for the money yet, you can keep rolling it over and over. It doesn't come just barefoot like that either. Because having started the plan, if you were to cut off, we give you an amount of insurance that equates to a funeral expense. With the others, if you die, whatever you put in is what is paid out. No, we don't do that way. If you were to put 10,000, it provides you with 1.2 million insurance, because we take 3% of that money to pay for the insurance. So in the event you met in an accident, perish that thought. We pay that so your family does not have to go looking for money to take care of final expenses, funeral expenses. This, and at the same time, having started this plan, it provides you also with another additional benefit of being able to use as collateral or security with the bank or the credit union. You want to borrow money, you can give them the plan to hold because they want something to hold. You go there and you want a loan, they say to you, listen, you have to get co-signer or guarantor. You go and you ask 2 people, they say, I signed already. You ask another one, they say, I signed for 3. And they're all telling the untruth here. It's not the truth. They don't want to do that. Do you have land paper? Yes, but it's tied up. What do you have? I have an investment policy with Sagicor. How much cash value is on it? Or, in other words, we could use, therefore, the investment proceeds as the collateral. It's a remarkable plan. The name of it is a Sagigold accumulator, and some of you I know have it, so you could ask your agents. You need to ask your agents and say, the money I'm putting in my plan, in which area is that money being invested? Call them up and ask them. If you don't do that, you could be at a significant disadvantage. This is so regrettable because some agents don't know. They do it with all honesty and they don't know. So in other words, one person can put $10,000 here. You put $10,000, Alicia, in the plan. You're not looking at me, Alicia. You put 10,000 and your colleague put 10,000 in the same plan, start the same date, the same amount, yet she makes a lot of money and you make nothing. Why? It all depends on which of the areas you invest in, because some of them are operating in the negative. Now make nothing. That's what it means. Now, running and cutting to the chase. We have a development in Jamaica where we have cancer tearing down the place. Dr. Vendries, before he died, he says we are having an epidemic of prostate. And it's true. In my company, you go in the bathroom, you have a long urinal there. And if you have 4 men urinating over 40, I bet 2 not finishing all in 15 minutes. We are having an epidemic of prostate. At one point, the newspaper had said that the prostate cancer had gone up by all of 60%. I wanted to get this down here. I came in late. 6%, 60%. So we have the Triple Protector Plus. And the Triple Protector Plus is a simple health policy, critical illness policy, that provides 9 benefits: heart attack, cancer, stroke, blindness, coma, deafness, loss of speech, paralysis, and major burns. If any of those were to occur in your life, and the policy you have has been there for 6 months, 180 days, we pay $5 million upon the first diagnosis. In other words, if you went to the doctor and the doctor says, look here, there's a little lump here in the breast, we're going to run a little biopsy or whatever it is. And the result comes back. That has happened. I've had a number of cases like that. The teacher called me from Washington Boulevard. I was in office the evening about 3 o'clock. And she called and said, Mr. Muir, Mr. Muir. I said, who is this? Who is this? So she said, Mr. Muir, I'm dying. I said, what is it? I'm at the doctor's office. He just told me that the result has come back and I have breast cancer. I said, okay, I'm so sorry about that. I said, could you turn and go back to the doctor and ask him for a copy of the lab test result? That's all that Sagicor wants, a copy of the lab test result. She went in and the doctor said, no, he can't give her. I said, where are you? She said, I'm at the Washington Boulevard Medical Center here. And she told me the name of the doctor. I said, wait there. I jump in the car, shoot straight there. She was sitting there in the foyer. I said, where's the doctor's office? She said, right there. So I went up to knock on the reception and said, Mr. You can't go, somebody in. I said, just wait a minute. Wait on me. You can't go. And I knocked on the doctor. The doctor came out and looked disturbed. He said, sir. I said, doctor, just one word. Your patient just told me that you informed her that she is diagnosed with cancer. I am her agent from Sagicor, and we have the money to pay for the surgery which you have recommended. May we have a copy of the lab test result? And he just eased up and said, sir, I didn't understand. He called Sandra, his secretary. Could you get that file for me? She got the file. And copy and took and signed. And I took that lady in the car, a teacher. On the way to my office, she called her husband and we joined at the head office. If that was Wednesday, the lady had her check in her hand wet the Monday. And she went and had that little lumpectomy. Take out the lump and she's teaching now. That is what our critical illness plans does. It works. So all your ladies need to buy one, and the men are to buy it as well, because it's securing your health. One of the pastors in my church circle, his wife was diagnosed with cancer. I'm saying this because very often when cancer hits the family, everybody suffers. But the pastor himself, she's nice and plump, lovely looking lady, well built. And she retained her physique and the integrity of her structure was maintained. But the man withered down to nothing. He maga down. He started to fret. He fret more than the lady. That's what cancer sometimes does. The children go to school and vomiting and headache and can't pass no exam. Because mommy has cancer or daddy has cancer, think I'm going to die. So you buy it. And ladies, the men don't buy it. You hear the men know that they can't die. You might not know that. It can't happen to them. So you have to force it on them and sell them, because when they are hospitalized or anything, is your bank account suffer. And it's very expensive. I remember, time? Thank you. Okay, I'm going to cut. I cut. Thank you very much. I acknowledge that. You have said time. You see how unreasonable it is? It's not fair, man. Not fair. Everybody had a big time. I come last. But you know, the protocol is ladies before gentlemen, so I give in to that. I'll wind up in 2 minutes. May I have 2 minutes more, please? Thank you. Most kindly. 3. You're most gracious. Thank you. Then you're to buy, I listened to you talking about the FIP, which the credit union markets. And you're to buy the FIP because it takes care of 6 persons. You're to buy it. The maximum one can get is 1 million. Am I correct? No, it needs to be 500,000. So you're to buy it because it's to guarantee that in the event death occurs in your family, there are sufficient funds to take care of the funeral expenses. You know, I brought along a clip here that showed that one man died, and 9 months after he can't be buried. Everybody talking about relatives coming from abroad, England. Nobody coming from anywhere. They don't have the money to bury. That's the problem. So you buy it. What Sagicor has is one that pays 5 million. You have 1 million, the FIP, we provide 5. Oh yeah, that's Sagicor. Isn't that you? Oh, you don't? Oh, pardon me. My apology, my apology. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, okay. We provide 5 million with the FIP for them to pay out somebody most dead. With this, in the event a person met in an accident and is hospitalized for 7 days, we pay 10% of the coverage to assist with medical expenses, 10%. Nobody has to die, we pay. In the event the person loses 2 arms, we pay half of the money. If it's 5 million, we pay 2.5 million. 2 legs, 2.5 million. With the credit union, they pay nothing. They don't dead. 1 arm, we pay 25%. 1 leg, 25%. 1 eye, 25%. We insure even a little finger. 5%, we give you money. With the FIP, they pay nothing because you're not dead. If one became disabled, we pay everything. Credit union wouldn't pay a dime because you're not dead. That's a distinction, man. If this is there for 2 years and a person is diagnosed with a terminal illness and the doctor says you have 6 months to live, we pay half to take the financial stress off the family. And at death, we pay the other half. The credit union wouldn't pay anything except the dead, finality. That is how we work, man. That's Sagicor of superior product. We, on this one plan, we provide 9 benefits, 9 benefits. So you have to buy it. And you talk about investments. Let me hit an investment another way. This is one of the greatest investments. You know, you see your mother or your father or grandmother at home. Mama never looks so. You pass in the room and Papa never used to groan. And you hear him a groan. And you're looking in his face and say that. Buy one little policy, no man. When you buy, you go buy a FIP purse. You buy everything that Sagicor has. You go over garden and buy everything them have. You go in the bank and buy everything you have. You end up with 20 million. Oh yes, that sounds good. You buy the Benz you talk about, man. That's how you invest. Sickness in the family. And you see the debt written all over the face. And you're still there working and stressing out yourself. And the church, Pastor Enlin, can do that as well for the members for whom you're caring. Yes. Buy it on the members. You provide for them the meal, the resources, you help them with medical bills, and if they cut off, the church has to come up with the funeral expense or partially. Buy it on their lives and make the church the beneficiary. That's investment, man. That's investment. If this policy is there for 1 year, we pay 50%, and after 2 years, we pay 100%. But in the event of accident, we pay from day 1. An accident, we classify accident as anything which is not organ failure. In other words, drowning for us is accident, gunshot, stabbing, car lick down, what else? Anything which is not organ failure, we classify as accident. So you know you have your son or your daughter or your brother. We already, yeah, brother, huh? Yeah, that brother. You have your brother and the fella decide to join a gang. Yes, him a bad man. And you saw how him set him life. You saw the trajectory of his life. You know, buy the thing and buy $110 million on the fella. You said 3 minutes, it's 3 minutes. Thank you very much.
The floor is now open for question and answers. If you have a question, you may use that microphone in the middle. Are there any questions? Questions for anybody? Questions for anyone? If there are no questions, let me say, oh, there's a question.
Yes. Suppose you join the thing, like, yes, Sagicor, and you're paying money to, like, health and, no, others, you know, death insurance and such the like. And then you become unable to pay this money up. Work gone down, and say you're unable to pay. What will happen in an event of
Whenever a policy is taken out, the buyer or the purchaser has one obligation: pay your premium or policy lapse. Straight up. We honor everything else, but you have to pay your premiums. Straight up.
Thank you. Any other questions? It's been a great privilege and a joy to have been here this evening. So let me, on behalf of the Family Life Ministries of this church, the Gregory Park Baptist Church, say thanks to all those who have contributed